So Justin, I'm glad I caught you.
Oh,
I have to tell you this dad joke.
I'm excited.
Why didn't the skeleton ride the roller coaster?
He was scared.
No, because he didn't have the guts.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Sorry it was underwhelming. Hopefully I'll do a better job at the MoneyWise FAQ.
I believe in you.
So Sean, one of the questions that we get from employees is how are overtime hours calculated and when will I be paid for them?
That's a great question, Bobby. And the answer is it depends. State laws differ. The federal law is pretty clear. Most overtime hours, most hours worked over 40 in a work week, and your employer is allowed to determine whether your work week is Monday to Sunday, Sunday to Saturday, but any time over 40 hours in a work week needs to be paid at time and a half. That said, that's the minimum requirement for overtime. A lot of states have a different requirement, a higher requirement for overtime. So make sure that you're looking at your various state requirements for overtime when thinking about what hours are going to be subject to that additional pay, that overtime premium, that time and a half pay.
Is time and a half the only way to calculate overtime?
That's also a great question, and the answer is yes and no. If you work for one company where you have different jobs that pay you at a different rate, so maybe you work for a restaurant where you receive one rate for a bartending shift or one rate for a hosting shift or a different rate for dishwasher or cook, and you're in all of those roles. If you work over 40 hours, you are subject to time and a half. That time and a half, though, is based on not necessarily the rate that you were working at when you went into overtime, but it's actually based on you being paid straight time for all of your hours and an effective hourly rate for that total being calculated, and then you do the additional halftime premium on that. They call that blended overtime. Not all states require it, but some states do require blended overtime for multi-rate employees.
Can comp time be given in place of overtime?
This is also a thing that sometimes confuses employees. An employer can offer you time off in place of overtime. However, they have to actually offer you an hour and a half for every hour worked over. They still have to pay you the time and a half.
Well, I know employees ask, and I let them know that overtime is due when you get paid during the pay period that you work those hours. That's very important.
Yeah, that is correct. So an employer can't hold back your overtime at a different rate or a different schedule than your normal pay period. So, when the pay period that you work the overtime is due on your paycheck, the overtime should be paid on that paycheck. Just keep in mind that various state laws do vary. The minimum requirement is the federal requirement, but each state has individual laws, so make sure you understand the overtime rules in your particular state. If you have questions about this or any other payroll-related matter, please feel free to reach out to us at MoneyWise Payroll. My name is Sean.
My name is Bobby.
And this has been a MoneyWise FAQ.